What's up everybody, welcome back to another build video. Guys, in this video we will take a look at what is in my opinion the best Monarch build out there. We are going to be focusing on three main parts in this build. Number one is going to be maximum damage output. Number two is going to be maximum critical chance. And number three is going to be infinite skill activations. We are going to use two major damage boost skills in this game and we're gonna have them infinitely. These skills are going to be Rampage from the Challenger and the Attack Dog from the Handler, simply because these two skills are the ones that give you the most damage output on ranged damage builds. In my opinion, there is no better feeling to go Berserk infinitely, along with the infinite 20% damage boost activation from the Attack Dog. And as you can see in the background, guys, the cooldown of these skills have no impact for us because we have them infinitely. Let's do a quick DPS check with rotations for the skills so you can see what I'm talking about. We will start off our DPS with Rampage stacked. You will see yourself that in this build you start off with small DPS numbers and as the time goes by you get more and more, where in other builds usually you get higher numbers at the start and after 2 or 3 rotations your DPS falls off. I'm not saying that this gun or this build is the best build right now in the game, there are definitely other guns that outshine this one, but surely this gun has a spot right now in the game where before the buff it was just irrelevant. So you can see that we can keep our DPS from 3 to 3.5k very easily. And now we're gonna go to the build breakdown, and after the build breakdown, oh you know guys, we're gonna wreck some bosses. I included only the bosses that I think the Monarch works. Okay you guys, so for this build breakdown we're gonna start things off from a different angle. We're gonna speak about the armor first. This is one of the best looking armors in the game, and not only that, you will get 200 armor as well. So the armor set is a full bruiser armor with the cultist hat. I think that this drip looks amazing and it's also very tanky as well. Guys, since we can have our skills infinitely, I will go with the skills that will provide us with the most damage for our Monarch. These are going to be Rampage, which fully stacked will give you 50% range damage boost, 30% fire rate and 50% reload speed. Plus we get 35% to all damage and 10% critical chance for enemies that are very close to us. We also use Handler to gain that 30% range damage, and we combine that with the Attack Dog to get another 20% damage boost. This is a total of 50% right here, 50% from Rampage plus 35% if the enemies are close. In addition guys, the dog will bleed the enemies so we can take advantage of the abrasive weapon much easier without having to swap guns or throw bombs at our enemies. You can also use Gunslinger here guys for the 25% range damage and the 20% fire rate from the Bulletstorm, although I think that Handler with the Attack Dog is the best option here. And now for the rest of the build, as we mentioned, we're gonna use Abrasive Whetstone for that maximum damage and critical chance output. Xania's Malice and Probability Cord are basically standard DPS rings right here, so we're gonna use them. We're also gonna use Offering Stone to get that 15% range damage so we can avoid using Burden of the Destroyer, which will lower our range for the Monarch. So this is going to be more damage and it can be fully stacked very easily. Now guys, this is the highlight of the build, Devoured Loop. This ring will give us the ability to refresh our skills when we crit the enemy, and we're gonna have a 1% chance to do that. That means that if you shoot 100 bullets, one of them is going to be resetting your skills. So this is why we can constantly refresh our skills all the time. If you don't have the Devour Loop guys, you're gonna have to complete the game in Apocalypse mode once and then you can buy it off Reggie. And now for the weapons, we're gonna use Corrupted Rune Pistol here guys to complement the build with 10% extra weak spot damage boost. We can also use Twisted Wounds here to further boost the damage of the Rune Pistol and also apply bleed if needed. The Rune Pistol hits like a truck with this build, so it's a perfect combo. My melee of choice is going to be Bone Chopper with Edgelord. The reason why I go with this melee is because of the looks. It just completes this drip perfectly. Of course you can use your favorite melee here, since it's not a major component of this build. On the Monarch we're gonna use Momentum. This will provide us with 30% critical chance and 30% critical damage at max stacks. We can stack it up very easily and this will provide us with the best possible damage output from the mutators. On our Relic we're gonna use 10% range crit chance, 20% range crit damage and 10% ranged damage, since Monarch now scales perfectly with ranged damage. What relic you're gonna use is your choice. And here on the right you can see the traits. The important ones I would say that is Longshot, so we don't have a damage fall off from range attacks. Flashcaster, guys, is 100% mandatory. We are using our skills so often and we don't want to be stuck on animations. Affliction is going to be very important here, guys, because the enemies that cannot be attacked from the dog, aka the enemies that are flying, we're gonna have to make them bleed with the bomb or the room pistol. By using Affliction we extend the duration of the bleed, so this will give us much more room to play with without having to reapply our bleed all the time. Siphoner is also very important for the sustain that it's providing. You guys can throw some points on Ragged as well, because the dog dies a lot, and if it dies we cannot activate our damage boost. Guys, this build will allow you to use whatever consumable you prefer. I suggest to go with Mudtooth Tonic to further increase our tankiness. And that will complete our build breakdown. Now let's wreck some bosses. Guys, it's only 12th of the month and my goal for 2k subs is already accomplished. I thanked each and every one of you in my previous upload, but if you haven't seen it, I thank you here as well. We have so many days until the end of this month. Do you guys think that we can get to 3k subs, or am I aiming too high here? I hope you smash that subscribe button and prove me wrong. Enough of this stuff, let's watch some boss fights. That's all from me now, guys. I'll see you at the next one.
I'm just calling to say I